And we're back with me, Johnny McMurray, on the On the Spot Football podcast for yet another fantastic guest. An ex-player, a current Irish League Premiership manager. He has the banter and the confidence to go with his TikToks at the minute. I guess you all know who it is, but it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Niall Currie. Niall?
How you doing, Johnny? How's you, my friend?
I'm very good, sir. How are you?
You're looking very handsome yourself.
Looking great there, sir. We've been matching this. We've been coordinating back and forth.
Be your wingman. I'd probably be in your wingman.
Yeah, well, I'll knock him down. You just clean up. You know what I mean?
I'll sweep up, no problem.
How are you, sir?
Doing well. Doing okay. Life's okay. Obviously, football is football. You know, you have ups and downs and stuff like that there. But I'm good in general. You know, happy bunny. You only hear once, so you got to enjoy it, Johnny.
Here, your hair's looking as on point as mine at the minute. I had to run down that toilet there, mate.
I says to myself the day, I says, I'm in with a big gun here, you know, I'm come up against it. You know, 6'2", jet black hair, hairy chest. I says, better get myself sharp.
So, sir.
Put a wee colour in for you, and put a wee colour in the sides there for you.
You know what I like? I like people that go to a wee bit of effort for me.
I do it all myself.
I know. Well, here,
see, my missus was a hairdresser years ago, and then we split up and stuff like that there, and I just kept it going myself. DIY.
The wee brush and all, the wee dye.
Yeah. See, that's and all. But I was going to take a picture and send you the other day.
You bit of tinfoil and all?
It's just in, like, it's just the fully in on there. It's about the timing of it. You have to get the timing of it right, or else you just, like, you know.
You'd be blonde.
Yeah,
instead.
absolutely.
Too black.
I've done all of it. Hers every shape.
Well, listen, it's good to have you on. Thank you very much. I know that we've been working back and forward here probably for a couple of months now to try to get this organised. And I know with work and stuff it's been difficult, but I appreciate you.
No, listen, I've been watching it. I've watched them all. So, very good. I really enjoyed them. And as I say, you know, I don't mind these kind of things. Good banter.
Good. We're here to get the views up today. That's what we're doing.
Well, that's what I'm here for. That's what you wanted. And so we'll deliver.
What about yesterday? 4-1. Talk to me.
It was tough day. Well, we knew it was going to be a tough day, John. We're just struggling at the minute in regards to, you know, we've got 3 or 4 big hitters that we're missing at the minute. But listen, we've had a real tough run of games, Johnny. You know, we've had top 6 basically.
Yeah. From
last season, we've had Lauren, Glentoran, Linfield, Coleraine, Dungannon Swifts away, and Crusaders. So it's been a really tough. I'm actually okay with the 6 points, believe me or believe me not. You know, I think we're coming in the run of games now, and all the run of games that we have coming in now, we feel we can be really competitive in. So, yeah, there's no guarantees now. All these games, you know, the games that we're coming into now are probably 50-50 games now between the rest of it, and that's the way the league is now. You know, so I think a lot of teams were, you know, we had a good time last season because a lot of teams were transitioning in their teams. You had your Linfields, you had Crusaders, you had your Koreans even, you had your Lawrence, and, you know, they were all transitioning. We transitioned anyway from the championship, obviously. But we felt it was a good opportunity last year. But as I said, I think I said it a couple of months ago, you'll find a different ball game this season. All these teams have settled down with their squads, and they've brought only one or two. If you've noticed, they only brought 2 or 3 players in and stuff like that this season. So they're happy with what they had and just added on to it. So they've been ready to go from my eyes, and I said, so I think you'll see a gap this year, Johnny. I think that.
Do you think it's going to be a bigger gap than what you would usually expect between the top 6?
I think personally, Coleraine, Linfield, Glentoran, and Lord will be the standouts, and I think everybody's, you know. Then you have your Ballaminas who've went into the market very strongly, and you have you know, obviously your Cliftonvilles will always be strong. And Swifts again. Swifts are going through a bad time at the minute, but they'll come out the other side. They've made some big signings during the summer with the European money and stuff like that. So, I think it's the rest of us, you know. So, no, I think it's going to be a tough league. You know, we're back to the stage now. I think we're going to have to win our games against our own wee mini league, if you know what I mean. And hopefully, whenever you come against the big boys, get an odd point here or there, and back to when it was a couple of years ago, really. I think last year was just a false dawn.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, Johnny, in regards to.
But you were strong enough. You were very competitive in the first half of the season. You're sitting up there the whole way through. You know what I mean?
But we can't take injuries. That's the bottom line. We were sitting in a brilliant position in January last year, Johnny, and we got 3 or 4 really big injuries. We had no centre backs for the last 2.5 months of the season.
Yeah.
Where we had Aaron Trainer and Big Devine playing centre backs, and we hurt whenever we lose our big ones, as I say, and that's life. That's just we're
hard to get that depth, isn't it, in terms of being
the depth, 100%. The depth is, you know, we're okay. We get our starting lineup, and we're a very decent side. I think we're really competitive. But I have to praise my players at the minute, because even with all the losses that we have endured, really this season as well, we have been very competitive in a lot of games. Yesterday, for 45 minutes yesterday, we were very good.
Yeah.
For a team that gets an hour and a half on a half pitch at the Annagh on a Tuesday,
Right.
and an hour and a half at Brownstown on a Thursday, to come out, and we set our team up yesterday, and it worked brilliantly. We had Coleraine frustrated. We had wee Cooper with the hands in the air, throwing the hands in the air, and Rory was frustrated in the sidelines. And unfortunately, that moment just on the stroke of half time was a killer for us.
It's a killer time to concede.
Killer, and
especially a penalty too at that stage.
Well, that's it. And we had it under. We getting in there at 0-0 becomes. Then if you get through the next 20 minutes of the second half,
bells and mounts, and
well, then you'll see different games. I always say to the players, stay in games like this here. Don't concede in the first 20 minutes of the second half, and then suddenly, see with 15, 20 minutes to go, even the big boys pucker, as they would say. So, but we weren't able to. The first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, we conceded a game, and that was a killer.
One of the big things I want to talk about before we obviously dive into your career, your managerial career, your playing career, is Coleraine. Obviously, you played them yesterday. You could end up losing 4-1. Obviously, but what do you think the whole transition for Colerane's been like? Do you think it's positive, or do you think it's negative for the league?
Well, I think it's good. I think it's brilliant for the league. The bottom line is it's. But I'm sure Niffle will even agree that the league, they don't want this league becoming a 3-horse race or a 4-horse race every season.
Absolutely not.
And I think that's where it's heading now.
Yeah.
I think that, unfortunately, clubs like ourselves, on a Tuesday and a Thursday is no longer going to be sustainable to compete with these teams week in, week out. I think the expenditure of the money you're dealing with, we're going to be going to clubs like this here and trying to get their scraps.
Yeah.
If that makes sense for us to secure our place in the league as well. And we're going to these places, and these, every player you go try and get on loan, Johnny, these guys are full time, and their wages are full time.
You need to cover that,
and we need
whatever.
Well, the clubs won't even. Most clubs now want it all covered,
100%,
and it's very difficult for us to compete in that market. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think Niffle want. There is no other league that I know of, Johnny, and I've asked many questions. I've never known a league where you have 4 or 5 teams, full-time teams, and the rest are all part-time. Like, we have 4 or 5 full-time teams, and then we've got, 2 or 3 hybrid teams that do 3 nights a week and stuff like that. And then there's only 2 or 3 teams that do 2 nights still. And in fact, I think it's ourselves and Bangor are the only 2 teams in the whole league that do a Tuesday and a Thursday anymore.
Well, how do you start to jump in there before you do that? But how do you feel that that's going to work going forward? Because it's hard to commit players to doing an extra day's work. It's hard to pay them at the same time, or give them that extra support, that extra wages. Plus the time out of the house for the families, the kids, getting time off work.
Correct.
It's difficult.
100%. And then people have to understand that, I'm in the same boat even as a manager, Johnny. I'm up at 6 every morning.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to your podcast with Stuart King. Stuart, a good lad. And him talking about the struggles of being a full-time work and being a football manager. It's the same for players. Players are in the same boat, Yeah. And if you want them coming in that extra night, that's an extra night that they have to be paid.
100%.
And to me, that's where every club needs to be. For even the bottom 4, bottom 5 clubs in the league, they need to be at least hybrid now.
Yeah.
And we need to be hybrid. And I'm sure Bangor's in the same boat. Everybody wants to be them 3 nights a week, but with them there comes costs.
Yeah.
And as I say, we're not there now. We're a big, huge club in name and history, but we're a club with no facilities, and we're a club that doesn't have our own training ground. And I'm seeing money handed out there and that their funding thing. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Communities funding thing, yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about it, and I'm probably right enough for not to let me about it, because I just feel that a lot of money was handed out there, that the clubs that already have training facilities, 4G pitches. These clubs had got a 4G pitch down last year and got an all 1.5 million.
Yeah.
We're sitting, as I've said to you, with a pitch on a stadium that needs renovated again. But the bottom line for us is, where do we go from here? What do we do now? We're sitting on, as I've said to you before, we're in the Irish Premier League. Took a long, hard journey to get us back, and we want to sustain that now. And the problem we have now is we are still going to have an hour and a half on a half pitch at the Annagh on a Tuesday, and an hour and a half on a Thursday, while other clubs are going to move on and keep on. We need to get into that hybrid. How we do it now is it's going to be the difficult one, but That's certainly a place everybody needs to be now. I think every club in the Irish Premier League need to be at least 3 nights a week.
What is the plan for Portadown going forward? Was it to put a 3G down? Was it to change the pitch? Was it to do into the complex? What was it?
Well, we had our redevelopment plan. The first stage out there was getting the 4G pitch down. 4G pitch gives you your training facilities, and it's a great selling point when you want to bring players to your club.
Is that to replace the actual?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, for the main pitch. We had plans that it was going to be levelled out. The 4G pitch would go right up against you. You can see a big gap between the away stand and the pitch. That pitch was coming right up to the back stand to create more room for us to get a training pitch and behind our original pitch as well. But we would have took just a 4G pitch, Johnny.
100%.
And that's all basically. That would have given us the platform to go into hybrid. It would have given us a platform for revenue. Gives you revenue, big revenue.
Schools can use it. Other clubs can use it.
The place will go Monday to Sunday.
100%.
Rent it out Monday to Sunday, and that revenue goes back into the club and helps us help get the players in for an extra night. And I do think overall that was the big blow. And it's a huge blow. It's been a really, really tough week for the club. There's no doubt about that, and for all the players and myself, because it's a real hammer blow. Not getting anything out of that. There's not even a pitch out of it. And considering we have no facilities in regards to training, I'll keep myself right.
Tough pill to swallow.
It is. It's really, really hard. And listen, it's my hometown club. Our town needs investment.
Yeah.
That pitch would have been huge for the town. The Shamrock Park is surrounded by, if you ever notice when you're at Shamrock, it's houses everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's estates everywhere. It's for to have that there platform there, the main stoke of the community. Would have been Rackley Rangers using it, any clubs using it, all with St Mary's, all using that their facility right throughout the country. I go out to Market Hill Swifts, like at Brownstown Park, pitch is 12-year-old, 13-year-old we're training on. Annagh United's pitch is now going on to 10 years and stuff like that there. So there's nothing else in Portadown.
Yeah.
Very, very few facilities. And it was really frustrating. That there news there that came out there during the week had me absolutely baffled and scratching my head in regards to a club our size. I think personally, Johnny, that the Irish League needs Portadown Football Club in it. And I think it's a weaker league. It's not so much a weaker league, but it certainly hurts the league whenever Portadown aren't in it. We bring support, we bring crowds, we bring atmospheres. And, one thing's for sure is it's a better place with Portadown in. And that their decision the other day has definitely put a major block and a major barrier in front of how we go about sustaining ourselves in the Irish League,
Well, we will come back to it at some stage, I'm sure, throughout the podcast, but it is very interesting to hear that opinion. I agree with the size of the club.
Yeah.
Fan base it's a great place to go.
100%.
And I do agree. I think Portadown, one of those teams that you recognise the league with.
Absolutely.
Whenever you're talking about it.
There's a great history, Johnny. The old, 25, 30 years ago, we were winning leagues, 4 leagues, and Irish Cups and playing in Europe and stuff like that there. And, we won. The ultimate dream for us, our board worked so hard with that application. And I'm really disappointed for the board as well. I'm really disappointed for the town. Yeah, if I'm honest. Players are disappointed. We're all really, really hugely disappointed with that decision. But as I say, the board have told me to just keep stush and let's see what
we're gonna do. I don't want to put you to put you in any trouble here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think I've held court. I've held court okay, but what I would say, Johnny, is we're hugely, hugely disappointed with the decision that was made.
Well, you're on the podcast to talk about you. I know Portadown's obviously a massive party. You're from there. You're managing there. You've managed there twice.
Yep.
I think you played there as well at one stage.
That's it. I was understudied at Mickey Keenan.
What we want to do is we want to bring you right back. So, Irish League player. A lot of people may not know this or think about this, and I certainly had to do my research on it all. But man between the sticks.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It is, honestly. I didn't think of me. There's no way he was a goalkeeper here. There's no chance.
I played against Haylocks, Kirk Hunters, Baxters, Fergusons, McCoys, the whole lot of them. Played for Bangor. I was at Bangor for 9 years. I had a testimonial at Bangor.
Right.
And started my career, my first breakthrough. I was about 5'6", 5'7", when I was about 15, 16. So I went to Loughall, Fee Wiley signed me at Loughall, and I played for Loughall in the B division. And between the ages of 16, 17, I got a wee spurt, and I got myself up to the big 5'10", so I got myself up to 5'10", and we played Bangor in the Irish Cup, and we played them in the Road Ferry Cup at the time. That's how old that is. But I got man of the match in both games.
Okay.
So Bangor were really good at that time. They was in Europe and stuff like that there. So got man of the match, and then I got a phone call from Niall Best asking to meet me and come down and would you meet me? I says, it's okay, no problem. So I came down, never forget, him and David Chisholm came down in the car. I didn't know what they were driving, but I was standing at Shamrock Park. I was just at the gates of Shamrock Park, actually. And a fag in my hand, a cigarette in my hand. I was only 20, 21. Like. And so it was really, really bad start from a Bangor career.
For
really, I was sitting like this, I was sitting like this at 20. I was sitting like that there, and next minute the car pulled up, and so, you're throwing it away and stuff like that there. So, yeah, Bestie came and I went to Bangor, and I was understudy to Tim Dalton. And Tim Dalton, as I said, the Bangor, we had a really top squad. Tim Dalton got injured on a Saturday in a league game, and Bangor had a cup final against Linfield in the League Cup final at the Oval, and that was my debut.
Right. Couldn't be tucked in at a bigger game.
You didn't know that either. See,
I didn't. I've just done my stats, but here, we're trying to fill people in here. Do you know what I mean?
I won a senior medal. I played that night. I was 21 years of age. We beat Linfield 2-1. Mark Kenny scored the winner. And it's like yesterday. I remember sitting in the change rooms and Colin McCurdy, and Niall just named the team. Niall would have told you nothing. Hardly spoke to you if you're ever being honest about it. But McCurdy was the guy, the go-to guy for me. He was really, Big Colin was brilliant with me as a young player at Bangor. So he just said, "Wee man, you're in, let's go." And we played that night and done well. I was really pleased, and I ended up that season, Johnny, playing 40 games in the first team. Timmy was injured most of the period, and I ended up, come near the end of the season. I remember I'd played about 37, a lot of games, and Tim was coming back, and he'd been on the bench for about 4 or 5 games, and I remember being pulled in by Niall, and Niall saying, "Look, I'm leaving you out today," and me turning around and go, "Why?"
Yeah.
Why?
I've been flying here.
I think I had three months of players, supporters player of the month awards, and it was Philly shaving there. Yes. So every time you got a player of the month, you got a razor, or lack of razor.
She didn't need that.
Flat out with a lack of razor. So what? About 4 or 5 of them. So I remember we were at Oma Town that day. It's amazing what you remember. Honestly, I can't remember to pick up my clothes in the morning, but I can remember vividly. He pulled me and he says, "You're out today, wee man, taking you." I said, "Why? What have I done?" "You've done nothing." He says, "The board have just told, obviously Tim Dalton was on a big stick, and I was sitting on 25 quid a week of keeping him out of the team." So he says, "Well, we've got to put him in again." And I says, "Listen, it is what it is." And so it was a great season. That season I won the Player of the Year awards at Bangor. With all the big boys. I was so proud, as a 20, 21-year-old. And then I had a 3-year offer from Linfield to sign with Trevor Anderson. Wesley Mont was number 1 at the time. And that season, I broke my thumb at the end of the season. And so I made an agreement to sign for Linfield on a 3-year deal. I met Trevor and agreed to sign for Linfield. And I turned round then. He says to me, I'll never forget his words. He says to me, "Now, listen, wee man." He says, "I'll be in touch with you when your contract's up with Bangor." And then there's a lot of tapping going on, Johnny, as I'm sure you will. Still going on. So he says to me, "I will ring you the day your contract's up." So I'd hurt myself, and I hurt my thumb. I broke my thumb. And I hadn't heard a word from Trevor in the last 2 or 3 months. So coming the end of the season was over, and still hadn't heard nothing. And them days our contracts were on to June. So it was a wee bit.
The extra month, isn't it? People are smart. Some people never done that, but I always remember David done it. David used to add the month.
That's right. 100%.
And then he used to go in January, "Are you speaking to anyone?" And I'd be like, "No." And then he'd be like, "Just make sure, because your contract runs now."
Right.
And I was like, "Smart guy."
Very, very true. You go in January time and you look for players coming out of contract you can speak to. And DJ always had the extra in January, sir. So we very, very clever. It was the same situation with Trevor. Yeah, so I said, Johnny, and waited the whole summer. Not a phone call, nothing, heard nothing. He says, "What's going on here?" So I got a phone call on a Thursday night. I was from Wednesday from Big Colin McCurdy. Niall and him had went to Glenavon.
Okay.
And he said, "Come on up, wee man, take a look around here." And I says, I've agreed that I'm going to Linfield, big man. He says, well, where are they? You know, they haven't contacted you and stuff like that. He says, right. He says, I'll come up anyway. So I went up, and him and Bestie were there, and I had to walk around the ground, and we man, you're going to be number one. You're going to be number one. No mucking about, fighting it out with Wes Lamont at Linfield. No, you're coming here to be number one. We're saying Mark Glendanning, saying, big players. He says, you're going to be the number one. That's 21, 22. And I says to myself, where's Trevor Anderson?
No, that's what I was saying. You wanted that phone call to come?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember that night. It was a Thursday night, and I turned round, and Bestie says, come on into the office here and all this here, and put the contract down. And I went from, 25 quid a week at Bangor to, I think it was £100 a week. And that £100 a week at them days only was good dough.
Yeah.
So I turned round and I says, right, sign the form. I got home through my door. It was just home through my door. My dad was sitting in the living room. Dring, dring. And them days were corded telephones.
The big circle thing.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah,
let
absolutely.
it
We were quite posh. We had the push button. So, dring, dring. And they're, hello now, it's Trevor. And he says, where have you been? What? He says, I told you I would ring you whenever your contract was up. Your contract's up tomorrow. I didn't even know, John. He says, oh, right. Oh, is it? He says, your contract's up tomorrow. Come down to Windsor. I'll see you at Windsor at 12 o'clock. I says, sorry, I'm just away from Glenavon. He says, I signed a contract for Glenavon tonight. Just put the phone there. Just put the phone there. Second was it. And that's my only regret in football was that. Yeah. It was because, I'll tell you why, and this is what I've learned from football, and this is what I try to do with my management. I try to be honest, always honest with players. You know, I signed for Glenavon that night, and about a week later, they signed Dermot O'Neill from Derry City.
Right.
And listen, I knew straight away. Yeah. That's curtains. And
kicking the balls
out. That was a sickener when they signed Dermot. Dermot came in. He's 34 years of age. He wasn't going to be understudy to me, that was for sure. Yeah. So that was the biggest disappointment. That's my biggest regret, that I didn't sign for Linfield. I had a wonderful opportunity there. And I would have backed myself to get into the team. But yeah, that's a big regret. I regret what I've done on that there. But other than that, it was...
What age would Big Wesley be in that stage?
Wes would have been 32, I'd say. He was...
Right, getting there too, like.
Well, Trevor was very, very keen to get me. Like, Trevor had met me 4 months previous, before the end of the season, and he was adamant that had a real good season at Bangor. And at 2021, you're an up and coming, even at 5'10", but I also say
you've always had a spring in your step, you know what I mean?
Good hands, and good judgment, reading the game, and good shot stopper. It was good on the feet. So it was good at everything.
You did good.
But just
good manager short. Done it.
I was just lacking in height.
You get the wee heelys now, you know what I mean? You could get
I had rugby studs in my boots.
See, whenever sharpened and all.
I had rugby studs in my boots, and the studs were that length, right? So whenever you're standing in the hallway before a game and you're coming out, everybody's saying, you look smaller. You look smaller in the pitch, and I'm standing beside guys at 6 o'clock going, yeah, that's right. I used to go out and bang in the Boom Boom Club after a game on Saturday night, and I used to have the flares on, and they're back again, by the way.
They are. Yeah, I've been wearing them. I've been getting pampered for them every time.
They're back again. I told you to come back. So I used to have the flares on, and I had a pair of, you ever see the Best City Rollers, them big boots? You would remember that. The big boots that had 3-inch heels on them, right? And so you had the flare, so nobody could ever see your feet. The flares covered your whole feet. I used to walk around the boom room 6'1". 6'1". Went from 5'10" to 6.
What happens when you bring somebody home and you take your shoes off and you sink?
Hey,
sink
that didn't worry me one bit. Walking around the boom room, everybody come up to you and go, Jesus, you look so much smaller in a football fit. And I used to say, well, everybody says that, funny enough, like, but... No, 6'1". Else you were walking around the boom room at 6'1", 100%. Big boots on underneath. Couldn't hardly. They broke my ankle.
I thought you say, what happened to go for? I was like, where is that?
I went over in a many a time. But no, good days. Real good days, John.
Talk to me about missing out on Linfield there. How did that affect you going forward? Because you've just got that phone call that you've always wanted, right?
Yeah.
Just came slightly too late. And then Glenavon go and make that saying, you sitting going deflated.
I asked to leave Glenavon after in pre-season. I never got over it. I never really, I never really forgive. And that's the truth about it. I never really forgive what happened. I turned around and I just thought it was dirty do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody tell me, you know, that the plans weren't made to bring Dermot O'Neill into the club. And fair play, he's brilliant. He was brilliant at Glenavon, but I just looked at him pre-season. I couldn't forgive him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I went there with good intentions to be Glenavon's number one goalkeeper, or what I was promised to be Glenavon's number one keeper.
Rightly deserved, probably, after the season.
I think so.
I
think Nigel watched me the whole season playing for Bangor, and he's very impressed. And I think I had a wonderful season. And as a 21, 22, I understand the concept of going with a 21-year-old, 22-year-old in the Premier League. It's a big ask for a young keeper, but I've done it at Bangor.
Yeah.
I had basically a full season playing on it. But
it's different if you're not tried and tested at that stage.
Well, that's what
you have been. So
I remember. I'll tell you a story. That's a good one. I remember whenever that season ended, before remember the Bangor changed the manager. Obviously, Nigel went to Glenavon and stuff like that. And one of the Bangor assistant managers, Big Paul Malone, Tony, he came round to my house. He was my school teacher at the TAC, and he sat me down. And bear in mind, I've played 38, 39 games in the Premier League. I've got supporters player of the year, players player of the year, and won all the awards. He sits me down and he says, "Now," because he remembered me at school, and whenever I was at school, I was only a 5, 6, so you'll never make it, you know, blah, blah, blah. Too small. He used to say, too small. Good hands, got everything, but he's too small. He sat me down in the living room, my dad was there, my mum was there, and he says to me, "We're going to give you 3 games, see how it goes." I says, "What?" He says, you do realise I just played a full season in the first team? He says, "Aye, but Maloney says, we'll have a look at you." I says, "You'll have a look at nothing." He says, "I'm not staying." He says, "You can do." He says, "In fact, where you go? Don't worry about it." I said, "I'm not losing no sleep. I've already made the decision made where I'm going."
Yes.
I said, "Well, it's a trial? You're looking at a trial?" Right, dead on. Okay, cheerio. So I just looked at things, and yeah, I have regrets, but I have to say, you know, Bangor will always be my football club in regards to playing career.
Yeah.
You know, what happened to me at Bangor through the years, and I left a couple of times with wee huffs and falls out. I felt like with Big Geordie Dunlap and Andy Dugan once or twice, and went on loan to the arch enemy Ards and all stuff like that. But I was there. I ended up in a testimonial season, and it was a huge disappointment. I was in my testimonial season. Lee Dock was the manager of Bangor at the time, and again, Big Ryan Brown was there at the time. So
he was going to be coming through at that stage.
He was coming through, yeah. And again, I thought I was still in good nick. I thought I was still. I'd earned the right. So we played the first 6 or 7 games in the championship that season, and I think we'd won 6, 7 games in 4 or 5 clean sheets, stuff like that there. And it was a cup game on a Tuesday night, and I was old now. We'll give the kid we'll put the big man in, give him a game again. I think it was against Linfield. And of course, you know, when you're playing Linfield and as a championship club, you're going to be busy. Yeah. So Ryan had a wonder game that night, and the next minute I came into the change rooms on the Saturday, and I sat down and I was out of the team for the league game, and I was another thing really bugged me. I look back on it. I was a huffer.
Yeah.
You know.
I know how you feel, and I'm very much up that.
And you know something, Johnny, I always say, even as a manager now, through the years, you know, I deal with huffers still, but I can't stand them.
Right.
So I must have been an absolute nightmare for managers as well. I have to put my hands up, you know.
Yeah.
I was a huffer, and once Lead made that decision on the Saturday, because he didn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come and say to me. The Tuesday night game was give the young lad good opportunity.
Wee bit of experience.
Give him a bit of experience and a great night. We had been doing really well in the league. So,
but even at that stage, from playing in the game as a goal, even as a centre forward, you know that your goalkeeper comes in. If it's early stages of the cups, or even if you want your goalkeeper to play in the cups, they're only in for that game.
You can't have 2 number 1 goalkeepers, Johnny.
It's always, but even at that, I think now, even regardless, he even knows himself that he's probably not going back in the weekend.
100%.
And that's his game.
Well, he made that decision, and as I said to you, for me, it was really disappointing.
Yeah.
And but again, I can understand. I'm sure I can speak to a lot of my ex-managers. You said I was a wee skitter and a huffer and stuff like that there. But I just think, again, it's very, very important. And what I've really, really tried to do in my managerial career is absolutely learn from things like that.
Yeah.
Learn what I feel to tell players the truth and always be right up front and honest with them. I don't think. Listen, I can be everything. I can love you. I can hug you. I can I can give you the stick. But for me, being a football manager, I learned from so much from them experiences as a player, Johnny.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I vowed whenever I became a manager, I'm going to be right up front and honest and tell every player how it is.
Do you think that there's a difference between managers who have played the game and managers who haven't?
Interesting question. I think whenever you play the game, that you get more you get more respect straight away
100%.
in a change room.
Mm-hmm.
I remember whenever, because as you talked about earlier, a lot of people didn't even know I played the game, and so I my first thing was to bring Mickey McKeown in with me as an assistant, Mad Mickey, and to me, Mickey McKeown had an established career at Glenavon. He was a fantastic player, and he was a presence. So me bringing him in, just in case anybody thought I didn't play, stuff like that, well, at least we'll have a top level Irish League player in Mumma, and I brought Big Jay Willis in with me as well initially. But yeah, I do think it matters. I think when you walk through a change room door, and the players see you, and they see a presence, like, if Glenn Ferguson walks through your door and he becomes a manager of a football club, you're in awe straight away.
Yeah.
And you're excited. You're excited. Well, his guy knows, has been there, done it. So I do think that matters initially. I don't think, I'm not ruling out players who haven't played the game that can't be good managers. You've seen Mourinho's and you've seen Bangors and stuff like that there, technically and stuff like that. But I do think it helps when you're starting out your career, if you've had some kind of a career. And my career wasn't the excellence of Gary Hamilton's and Vinnie Orkins and all this here, who all went into management. And Glenn, even Spike and stuff like that. But my career was okay.
Yeah.
I look back, but I still have to tell players I used to play. But profile, I do think it helps. I think it's a good question, because I definitely think that if you have played at a good level, I think it definitely helps in the change rooms. Not a necessity to be a good manager, though.
No.
That's the key to. But it certainly helps when you're initially. Whenever I took my first managerial job at 30 years of age at the Annagh, I was going into a circle with mid-Ulster players. So I'd played higher than them, and I knew about that there, and I made sure they knew about that. Just, because as 30 years of age, you're a young manager, so you have to stamp you're not friends with them anymore. Like they're all guys that I
had worked for Bannett against.
Yeah, Matt and Saturday night at Bannett. So you have to get that line and make sure the line's there and say, right, guys, we're going to be as professional. We're only in Championship 2. But we're going to be as professional as we can. But don't pay players. We want us to be here and for your career. I can make you better players. We can get good discipline into the team. But ultimately, you have to have that line. You have to have a line. You have, for me, even at 30 years of age, being with the boys at the Annagh, I still want to, if we won a game, bus trips home and stuff like that, I joined them.
Yeah.
I joined them with the boys. And because at the time I took over the Annagh, Johnny, they were really planning to stay in the Championship 2. Like my 3 years at the Annagh, were from going to real plan to stay in the league to fourth place, and fifth place, getting the final of the Mid Ulster Cup, getting the semi-final intermediate cups, and we had them, a good solid, good solid team, and that's why Lochulke ended up coming in from it, because we'd done it. And believe it or not, at that time there, I'd retired. I'd lost my first 7 games at the Annagh, right? 100%. And me, Mickey and Jay were beat 4-0 at the PSNI. Right, okay. Right. So we're beat 4-2. My goalkeeper at the time, we were sitting 2-0 up, and my goalkeeper threw 3 in.
Right.
3 terrible, 3, and I'm sitting, my ankle was racked, and I looked at Mickey and I says, I reckon we've got one more game. Because the chairman had stopped speaking to me. Yeah. He'd give me the cold shoulder. He always knew the signs, Johnny. Signs are coming. And he wasn't speaking to you anymore, basically. And he says to Mickey, right, we're playing next week. I'm 30, 31, Mickey's 34. Mickey said, I'm not playing. No chance. He says, come in and play on a 6. Play on a 6, just sit in front, talk and communicate. I'll come in at the back, I'll talk and communicate. We went from Christmas time, after that there, unbeaten the rest of the season. And that was just with me shouting like a maniac in goals, and Mickey McKeown standing in the middle of the park organising. Because we had the players, but we didn't have leaders. Yeah. And what I tried to show to my back four in regards to Johnny McAdam and Gary Niles and stuff like that there, we will balls and stuff like that, I try to say, talking and communication is vital. You want to kick on, you want to become a better player, you got to open your mouth, you got to lead. So that was, and then I played there for the next 2-3 years, and I was completely done, Johnny, completely done. And then, that all came in from it.
So see, whenever you're talking about that transition where you're on the sideline at the start and then you put yourself in.
Yeah.
First of all, the relationship with your goalkeeper has to be done. He has to be gone, right? So that's one thing. How do you go from shouting from people on the sideline to being able to do all that from your own net? Because I've watched people go from a player coach to being a manager.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do both. I think it's very difficult for somebody to be able to play in a game and be able to dictate what people should be doing, yet you mightn't be up to standard yourself. So I'm saying
I had a couple of really difficult experiences with, because I remember it's very difficult whenever we are 1-0 up in a game and you come for a cross and you drop the cross. and they score. And your players are looking at you and go, gaffer.
Yeah, what do you do?
And you're sitting going, and then you're coming into half time. And then I'm just going, Mickey, you take it.
100%. Like,
from here, Mickey, they just get me home. Shit the guy. And he get me home. Shit the guy. Just go cost us a goal. So I'd always let Mickey start it off, and then I would put my hands up and say apologies about the goal, boys, but on my go. But deep down in your head, it hurts.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? You're sitting going, you're sitting going, so frustrated. But the best thing ever happened to me was whenever I left the Annagh and went to Loughgall, I had Mark Robinson.
Okay.
Who was brilliant keeper. Had been at Loughgall for a long time, and he says, finally, boots up, ankle okay, and just relax and concentrate on managing now. And that's probably at 33, 34. That was my first real management in regards to being just a gaffer.
That's
just
you
a
on the
manager,
sideline.
yeah. And being on the sideline and suiting and fluting it, and suiting and booting
looking
it.
the part,
looking the part, lovely suits, and
make sure you stand at a certain angle in the wind.
Oh, absolutely. Hair, nice blonde tips in the hair, 34, looking great. Before all the weight went on. But that was Loughgall was my first enjoyment in regards to standing on sidelines. But I have to say again, and I look at myself now, Johnny, and it's funny because I think I got sent off from the sidelines maybe 4 times in a season.
Right.
The first season at Loughgall, we won the league. But very highly strung, very, very
emotional.
passionate and emotional
100%.
about everything. I have, whenever I was at Loughgall, Johnny, I was 34. I had players older than me.
Yeah.
And I was the gaffer. I was the manager, and I was the one. So it was hard, but I loved it. I just love getting to know people. I love to look inside them and see what makes them tick. What I need to do. How can I make you better? How can I make you mentally stronger? Whenever you go through tough times, how can I get you out the other side of them things?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about managing. I love just getting to know people. Even the new players that I sign, even nowadays, I do my homework on them. First thing I look for is what kind of character are they? Are they a good person? Are they a good club? Are they good to bring in the environment? And that's the first thing I look at whenever I'm signing a player. Can I get him better? Can I get him player? I don't care what anybody says, Johnny. My repertoire of football management is have a happy player.
Yeah.
And get a player to smile and enjoy himself. But have a resilient player as well. A player who can go through bad periods, bad, times, and at certain stages of the season. They're not robots. Footballers aren't robots.
Yeah.
You can't have them 100%, every single game of football. They're going to be ups and downs. It's the players that come through the downs that are the ones that I love. I love the guys that come through a wee bad patch and come out the other side of it. But it's very important for me as a manager that I make sure that they know I've got them. I've got their backs, and I'm here. And regardless, don't you worry about outside noise. I'm here. I'll help you through all this here. But listen, there's a two-way street, and they have to give they have to give it back. But I'll never criticise a player who gives me everything.
Yeah.
Even if I have a poor game on a Saturday, John. If I have a poor game on a Saturday and he's emptied his tank for me and he's given me everything he has on the football pitch, I'm good with you. You're okay with me.
Yeah.
I'll never ever cry. I don't criticise. I criticise boys that I think they could have given more.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I think you didn't leave it all out there for me today. I've done that many a time. I've told players, but I do it collectively, and then I speak to people in private. I think that's key.
See, before we go too much further, I want to bring you back just slightly to your playing career. So you finished off there emotionally. That's kind of you done, and we've kind of jumped ahead. But at what stage do you believe that you're ready to jack it up? Because you've touched on there that you've left it in quite early.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're 30 and you've got your first job. So Were you presented with a job at 30 to go, that maybe this is for me? Or was it, lads, I'm done here. I want to step away. I want to go into management.
I had a really serious leg break at Bangor from an old ex-friend, Dean Smith. You know Dino well. We were in the final of the League Cup at Bangor. We were a championship team on Wall and Fraser. We were playing Armagh City on a Saturday afternoon. Rain was paying down, and ball came back to me. I lifted the ball. It was a wet day. Dean came sliding in. Broke my fib and all my ankle ligaments.
Right.
Leg was flopping about and stuff like that there in the hospital. I was in cast for 8 months. And I wasn't right from it. And this is where my love for Bangor as a football club, as a player, this is what the kind of respect that I had for. They paid my football wage, they paid my work wage, they covered everything, and then they turned around and gave me a year's extension of my contract when I wasn't even right.
Yeah,
it's pretty similar to your situation with your knee and stuff like that. It's like you doing that with your knee and Ballymena giving you another 18-month contract. That's what Bangor done for me in them days, and that was where my love for the club really strengthened, and that's where it was very, very emotional, that I was sitting and they just coming and offering you an extension to your contract when your contract was up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I thought that was class. I just said to myself, so I tried to come back, Johnny, and it just wasn't right. The tib and the fib were okay. They had healed, but the ankle ligaments was giving me a lot of bother. I was playing on a Saturday, and the ankle was flaring up every time I played a game. I said couldn't train on Tuesday night. I could train on Tuesday night, couldn't train on Thursday night, and then I was just going in the games on Saturdays, and I could feel I'd lost that spring. Whenever you're coming, I'd lost that there a wee bit in the spring. It's springing off the leg, and I was struggling, and I was that stage. I started considering, I was too young. I think I broke it when I was 27, and by the time I got back playing again, Johnny, I was 29. So I thought.
It's hard to go from 2 years out, isn't it? To get
basically about 18 months, 2 years.
Did your confidence take a big hit at this stage too, coming back, or were you just self-confident to be like, I can do this, but then your body just failed you?
Aye, I think that's probably right on the button. I felt confident. I was walking okay. I wasn't giving me too much ball in my daily life. I was still working, doing the rounds in the Royal Mail. But when I trained, and then I got home, and then the Wednesday, he was looking at your ankle, swelling up and icing it. And I said, this can't, there's no future in this, But I was 29 and I felt as if I had to give Bangor, and after what they'd done for me, I felt I had to give it a real rattle and try and come back.
Yeah.
But I knew after probably, Johnny, about 5 or 6 games, I knew it was over at that level. I just knew I'm not the same. I've lost that, and I needed that. At 5'10" and a half.
Yeah.
I needed that. That's what the doctor measured me. I needed that. I needed that wee fire and that wee spring that I used to have, and it wasn't there anymore. So ultimately, I then traded for another. I think I'd retired basically and gave it up, and I think Armagh City came in for me. And Collie Malone had offered me a full fee for a year. They were trying to get up into the Premier League, and they had a really, really good side at the time. They were really challenging. So I done one more year. I was signed for Armagh purely for financial reasons. Yeah. If I'm being honest about it.
And it happens. I mean, sometimes
everybody's the same,
Nice to have that cushion, isn't it?
100%. Collie offered me a great deal. Went to Armagh City. I think we came second. I knew it was done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was hard. But I knew I hadn't the same levels, and I knew I could drop down in the Championship 2, no problem. I could have played in Championship 2 all day. But I made a decision at that time, Johnny, that I didn't want to be a player manager. I wanted just to be a manager.
Okay.
And so that's when I went to the Annagh. And I didn't play the first 7 games that we lost. I was just standing on the sidelines and stuff like this, but it was painful.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting saying it all the time, son.
You kicking ball from the dugout there?
100%. I was kicking every ball, and I was looking to say, I'm better than the goalkeeper have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Happens to you, it goes through your head, doesn't it?
I was just sitting going, I'm playing a lad there, and even the way I am, I says I'm far better. I could stand, at least talk, and organise and communicate. So that's where it ended up, and I ended up playing again for the next 2 years. And I'm going to, here's the irony in it. I ended up playing again at the Annagh. I never had a problem with my ankle, not one. Never swole up. Stopped swelling up. Stopped any pain. No pain on it. For the next 2 or 3 years at the Annagh, I was pain-free, but just getting fatter.
Yeah.
Even at 30, 31. Like, I was called fat whenever I was, 8.
Yeah.
You know, I've been calling it right throughout my whole life. And I look back at my pictures, even growing up and stuff like that, I think, I was really fat. Like, it was
Get it all the time too.
just to be a bit of a chopper.
See if you let your beard grow slightly too long, people hammer you for. You're like, I'm chubby around the cheeks. What's about it?
No, 100%. So I had used to be called chubs, from I was no age. So, but I just sort of what I called. I enjoyed my life.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to
Good.
tell any lies.
As you should.
I was 30 years of age. I'd done everything that I could. I gave it up my whole lot. Tried to come back. Wasn't there, and I was just enjoying my life. I had 2 wee girls, 2 babies, and everything was good. I was going to Annagh, enjoying myself. Great banter after the game. I wasn't really taking it that seriously. I wasn't thinking at that time that I was going to spend 24 years in management, Johnny.
Yeah.
But at that time there, it was good banter. I was a leader of a group of men. It was exciting. You had your highs and you had your lows, but your highs were high because Annagh United winning the game of football was a real high for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense. It was like winning the World Cup. Whenever we came home on a Saturday from a bus journey from Glenavon,
everybody
having a win. You're just falling out of the bus.
Bottles everywhere.
Falling out of the bus at 8 o'clock. Remember my dad came, my dad was in the back of the bus one day and he fell out the back door. 63 years of age. He's sideways, he was in the back of the bus singing to sing-alongs with guitar. But they were great memories. I love that there about fun. I was always in it, Johnny, to have a fun and enjoy myself. And I still try to do that now, although it's completely different. It's a different animal these days. You have to, the levels of professionalism and the involvement as a manager. I've noticed, going from 31 to 53 now. It's just 53 the other day. So.
Yeah. On the 12th there.
On the 12th, yeah.
Ryan, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. So
pleasure.
I look at age now and I look at myself now and compare myself to when I was, in them days. But I have great memories.
Yeah.
One day I look back on my football career very proudly, and I look back on my managerial career even more proudly. What I've achieved, nobody gave me a chance to do that. Nobody's seen that in me. But I learned a lot from some really good managers as well, and I took their best bits, and I tried to learn. But I look at my career now as a manager, John, I'm over the moon. I'm well over the moon.
See, before we move forward, how did the job at Annagh come around that quick? Like, how does that be presented to you?
Live beside the ground. My house is basically next door to the Annagh, and still is to this day. They had their manager. They had relieved their manager the previous season of his duties. Hearsay, Alan Flavel had heard that I was wrapping football up. I wasn't going to play, and it was local, and I played for Annagh when I was 15, 16 years of age and stuff like that. So, I have to be fair. I owe Alan Flavel a hell of a lot. He rolled the dice with a young manager, and that was, I suppose, word of mouth. I now would be interested. Somebody coming to me and say, "Would you be interested?" You let him know. I would have a chat with him,
and whatever materializes.
Talk about it. I remember speaking to him and saying, "Listen, bring it, and you spoke to Mickey, obviously trying to get the background sorted, so Mickey was game for it, and Big J Wallace was game for it as well, so them 3 guys, we're wonderful, man. We were very, very close friends at the end days, and, the party continued. Me and Mickey played a at Bangor for 5 or 6 years, and the party just continued with us,
Yeah.
It was about him staying down the weekend or something like that there, and us all getting off the bus.
Yeah.
Staying to the Annagh.
Yeah.
I remember that's probably why that's probably why I'm separated and stuff like that. That's the Annagh at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, Johnny. With all the boys. And I remember their ways were raging. The ways were raging, You'll be getting phone calls, the boys would be getting phone calls. Where are you? I'm still at the Annagh. This is 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm still here. I'm not doing no harm. No, I remember I used to just walk up to the house. Your house was 50 yards away.
Yeah.
And
surprised you never came down, pulled you out of it.
Well, this is why. This is coming through the door at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was wrong. When I look back on it now, it wasn't good for my release. Yeah, time, that's for sure. Especially with having 2 young girls. But I sorted it out and calmed myself down over the years. That's for sure.
You've matured.
I think I'm like a fine wine, Johnny. I think let's make no bones about it. Getting old sucks.
Yeah.
And there's no pleasures to it. I can tell you that now. You know, as I say, people you commenting about the game last week, and I got to look after, you know, see when the doctor tells you to look after your blood pressure, that's when you know you're in trouble. You know, so I'm sitting on blood pressure tablets, I'm sitting on medications and stuff like that. I just got to look after myself, you know. Haven't changed my lifestyle, though. Still like a cigarette, still like fun, and still like to have fun with people and enjoy myself as well. So, but I take football very seriously now, a lot more seriously than I used to, believe it or not, because I just have that drive to succeed.
Okay.
I still succeed. I think for a long time, you know, I've probably punched a lot. I've had lowest budgets, and you know, I had the lowest budget in the Premier League with Carrick for 3 seasons, keeping them up, getting them promoted. And I'm proud of them achievements, far more than the 6 championships that I've won and a promotion.
Yeah,
I'm more proud of my Premiership time in regards to taking that Carrick team from the Championship, keeping them in the Premier League for 3 seasons. I think was some achievement. I look at that there. I think my highest paid player Carrick at the time, Johnny, in the Premier League was 150.
Right.
150 quid a week was the highest paid player Carrick. So we had a wonderful group of players that were brought up from the Championship and added to it, but with a wonderful spirit about us. Great togetherness. And I think if you build that there togetherness in a changing room, I don't think it can be broke as long as I trust you.
Whenever you talk about being in a championship, winning the championship numerous times, do you feel like you built your career off winning the championship? Because you've probably done it one of the most times out of managers in the past. But one of the areas I want to touch on was you also won the championship, but you didn't get promoted.
Twice.
Right?
Twice.
So what's that? Is that one with Dundela, one with
Loughgall twice?
Loughgall twice.
Yeah. We had a brilliant chairman at Loughgall and Alan Davidson, you call him. And he did make it clear to me 100% right from the start. He financed me putting together a really good side. I'm not talking big money or anything. It was Loughgall. But he backed me in every way, signing Ryan Moffats and signing Dean Smiths, ironically, and signing Lucas Adamczyks and Matty Burrows and guys like that. He helped me out with all that there, gave me the tools to do a good job at Loughgall. But he did make it clear that the club's not ready financially to move into the Premier League. Now, whenever you win it the first time and you don't go up, there's a disappointment. But the players knew, we told the players that. But whenever you win it the second time in a row, it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
And I just felt a change myself. You know, I'd say, come on.
Yeah. We're ready to go here. Especially for you at that stage, you've just won the championship 2 years in a row and you're sitting going, this is my time to kick on. I need to go. And
I sort of like just was the opinion, John, like, why not? Let's give it a go.
Sure, if you come back down, you come back down.
100%. But no, the decision was made. Brilliant chairman and all that there. But it did get even the players. The second time we won it with the players, I could see the frustration.
Yeah,
because they're all top end championship players, and they wanted a rattle in the Premier League. And I was a top end championship manager, and I wanted a rattle in the Premier League as well.
I don't
see with them boys.
I don't think there would be personally anything worse than winning the championship and not going up. I couldn't do that as a footballer. I don't think I would be wanting out.
You see, that was the difficulty. But you see, for me, I had to also respect the chairman as well in regards to at 34.
Yeah,
I was sitting in a good job with a good opportunity, a hell of a lot bigger opportunity than I had. Was ever going to progress at the Annagh, Johnny, if that makes sense. Loughgall gave me a good opportunity in Alan Davidson. I was very, very grateful. I was still a young manager, and I still had plenty of time ahead of me. But yeah, it got frustrating. There's no doubt about that there. And even ambition-wise for me, I wanted to kick on myself. I always wanted to kick on because even when your stakes are high, like my biggest frustration probably, Johnny, is people looked at me as a championship manager. Yeah, top end championship manager, no doubt about it. Yeah. And then even when I went to Ards, and I won 2 leagues at Ards. Ards had been lingering 12th or 11th in the league and finishing mid-table for 10 years, 11 years before I went to Ards. And whenever I left Loughgall and I took a sabbatical, took 8 or 9 months out of the game, and I got a phone call from Ards, and they had been sitting near bottom of the league, and their budget was good. I remember meeting probably one of the best chairmen I've ever came across in my time, and by Brian Adams. He was absolutely top door. And knew his football, was a manager at Abbey Villa, So news football, whenever I met him, I remember meeting him in the interview it wasn't an interview, the job was given to me after 25 minutes chatting in the Four Trees in Mara. So he had everything read out to me. There's all your players. I had been out of the game for 8 or 9 months, Johnny. Didn't know any of them players. So he just gave me a list of all the players' strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. And I said, very good, very good. So we got Mickey, we got our crew together again, Mickey and Big J. And
iPod.
we had an absolute ball at Ards. We rejuvenated that club unbelievably. We had that place bouncing. We got them up, came down again straight away. We learned our lessons. We knew we had to invest more. German knew we had to invest more than we did the first time. Got up again. And then, as I say, whenever I left Ards, I think I was at Ards 6 years. It was a long time in management, only. But when I left Ards, we were sitting 6th in the Premier League before we had the fateful decision to go to Portadown.
Right. Was that decision based on the fact that you're from there, that's your club, and you're thinking, I want to go back? That's my be all and end all type?
Do you think, Johnny, that there's a period of time where a manager can be there too long as well? I've always believed that. And I didn't want to go and steal at Ards. At a situation at Ards where we were sitting really, really well in the Premier League in a really safe position. And I said to myself, how long? You know, I sat 6, coming into 7 years that I've been there. And I had a brilliant time. But I do think sometimes that you can overstay your welcome as well. I was part of it as well. And I had a wonderful relationship with the supporters, wonderful relationship with the chairman. And sometimes it's just about certain opportunities coming up. And your hometown club coming in for you at that stage wouldn't say it was an easy decision, but I think the timing of it was probably right.
Okay.
I think I took the job at Portadown, and yeah, put it like this, I would come into something that I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
In regards to what was going on, but I had too much firefighting at Portadown. I know I'm jumping ahead on you,
no, you're
stuff like that, but I had too much. I left Ards in a wonderful situation. I was delighted to come back to my hometown club. Everybody thinks that they're the man, that you're to turn fortunes, Johnny.
Yeah.
And I believed in myself, and I knew that, I could turn things around at the club. But I went in, the club had an embargo, and they weren't allowed to sign professional players. You could only sign amateur players. We're sitting bottom of the league, 12 points deductions, and financial trouble as well, with a lot of players knocking my door, looking this and looking that there. So I still maintain this to the day. The first time I was at Portadown, I didn't really get managing my footballers.
Yeah.
I was just firefighting the whole time I was there, Johnny. And I vowed, eventually when I returned to Portadown, that I didn't want any of that. The club was in a far, far better position for me to take the job the second time around, because I was having a ball at Dundallah.
Yeah.
I was loving my time at Dundallah. It was fantastic. I'd rejuvenated myself again. I was enjoying myself. I'd lost 3 stone in weight. I was looking amazing.
You were
like that.
Beard on point.
Everything was brilliant at Dundallah.
Boom, ready to rock.
Ready to go again, 50 years. 49 I was. Ready to go again at 50, a new life. But I had a wonderful time there, and I was really enjoying myself, and I built a really good side.
Yeah.
We were sitting joint Tapalock all the time whenever I left Dundallah. I would have fancied us to win the league. Big time.
See, your first stint at Portadown, did they give you any notion whenever you were going to take the job that all these things were potentially there or going to arise?
I think it's safe to say
blind?
I think it's safe to say that I was assured everything was sorted.
Okay.
That's basic. Well, I wouldn't have took that job if I knew what I was walking into.
Well, why would you leave the Premiership?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Sitting 6th, cozy.
Yeah, I was assured everything was on plan, and let's just you come in and do what It was really a miracle season to keep them up, Johnny, with the points deduction and the transfer embargo. But I come in, we give it a rattle. We got 4 or 5 wins in the bounce. We still had good players at the club.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it just filtered out. I remember going down to Ballymallard. We were on a good run. I think we'd won 3 or 4 games in a row. Give ourselves, but we're still behind because of the massive gap. And we went down to Ballymallard and we were a real good run. And we still had good players. We Ribsy and all was playing, and Mark McAllister's and stuff like that. And Gary Brains and Ken O'Malley's. And I went down to Ballymallard that night and we got beat 1-0. And from that night there, I just think that was the moment, it was give up the ghost time for a lot.
Right, okay.
And we never really recovered from that.
And there's a balance, and if you win there, you think we're on a wee trajectory here, and if we don't, then it was...
I think if we won that night, we were within touching distance. of the next club to give ourselves a chance. And I think that was just a wee pin in the balloon moment where everybody went, that's us. So with season just petered out, Johnny, and then you have a total rebuild of a championship team. And
No better man for it.
Done it many, many times, done it again. And again, what we built it, I think we were sitting fourth when I got the sack at Portadown. I mean, bear in mind, my first season at Carrick, where I'd rebuilt the whole squad, and Lauren and Portadown all were in the league in that promotion season. I built a whole new squad at Carrick. We were sitting sixth at that same period with Carrick. And we ended up going the rest of the season unbeaten. We ended up beating Portadown in the playoff. We beat Ards in the final playoff, which was very unheard of in regards to the championship team getting promoted. So I thought at the time it was, we had 3 or 4. We didn't have a striker for a long period of time in that Portadown time. And I thought they should have stuck by me.
Yeah.
And that's still, it's nothing that I haven't said before. I think, but the expectations of Portadown Football Club are completely different from Carrick. The chairman at Carrick was brilliant. Peter Clark, I have to say, people think we don't get on and stuff like that, but he was brilliant at that particular time.
Yeah.
Never put me under any pressure. Just newly relegated club, new squad, set in 6th. We're okay. I'm happy now if you finish in the top 6. And that was great. Whereas Portadown, 4th.
Aye, what are you doing there?
What's going on? We should be sailing this league. I think Tippy will tell you how difficult it is to get out of the championship, let me tell you. And with a new squad, stuff like that, a lot of injuries, a lot of players to come back. But, expectations. The expectations of Portadown is 4th not acceptable in the championship.
Yeah.
And understood that, but I still think to stay if they give me the second transfer window in January, I still think we wouldn't have been too far away.
See, whenever you're in the championship, obviously you have established your career as being a elite championship manager. Do you think that helps you when it comes to getting your team together and they go, Niall's got the championship job here, we're at Portadown, at Carrick, good chance of us going up?
Absolutely.
Jump in.
Well, that's why they bring, ultimately you get, I would say that's exactly right. I would say whenever you're sitting, Dundalk, we're sitting, for instance, bottom of the league, 7 points behind the next team, 13 points behind the next team. So they were in trouble. And that was a hard job to go into. Not too many people who walked in that job after 8 or 9 games, sitting bottom of the league with 1 point and stuff like that. So they come to me because they know that, at that level there, I am elite. There's no 6 championships, Johnny, and a promotion. And I think I've managed probably 11 full seasons in the championship.
But what makes a good championship team? If I take a championship job next week and I go in there blind and I'm sitting going, any players in, don't know if I can trust people, what do you do here, what do you do there in terms of your staff? What makes me be successful in the championship, in your opinion?
You got to get the right players. You got to get the core. In my opinion, you need to get the core right. You need to get a good goalkeeper. You need to get a good centre back. You need to get a good centre midfielder. You need to get a top striker.
So you think the whole span of your team just has to be experienced?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. You don't win leagues with 21-year-old goalkeepers. I know we were talking about this earlier, but you don't win leagues with 21-year-old goalkeepers. You need steady. Our signing of Aaron McGuire has been one of the best things I've ever met.
Right.
That guy came in at 33 years of age with us, and his last season was sensational.
Mm-hmm.
And not just an experienced goalkeeper at the highest level, a leader of men.
Yeah.
So my goalkeeper, always go with an experienced goalkeeper. Always go with an experienced centre half. Experienced midfielder, as we have in Gary Thompson, and a good experienced striker if we can get. But you can build around that.
Yeah.
That's what I asked with how I built my championship teams. The foundations have to be right. Top goalkeeper, you need a top keeper. You need a top centre back. You need a top midfielder, and you need a top striker. And then around that, I can go to, even in my championship days, Johnny, I could go to numerous managers and get their left winger. Whenever I signed Matty Burrows, we were sitting with Lucas Adamczyk on loan from Glentoran.
Yep.
And then Matty was sitting and likes of Paul McDowell's and stuff like that. These were players that, give us a wonderful opportunity. It was actually big. What do you call him? Alan McDonald.
Yes.
Was manager at Glentoran.
Yeah.
And he was wonderful to us. He gave us Lucas Adamczyk and Matty Burrows, and what a partnership they had, by the way. But the Matty Burrows, when wee man texted me after he came on the show and stuff like that, and he says, "Gaffer, I told him you'd light it up and all."
he was pitching it. He goes, "Get him on, get him
You're
on."
like a wee agent, or you're like a wee agent, good lad.
He's back playing.
He is indeed.
He's back scoring as well.
He looks as if he can still play now.
Nice, yeah.
But I watched his. I chuckle with wee Matty all the time. He was so popular in my household.
Yeah.
My household. I remember coming home from Knockall games. And one of my daughters would always come to the game. And the other girl, wee Ali was the sort of like the princess. My daughter Lauren, she's a real tomboy.
Okay.
You know, she's I have a pair of gloves for her as a wee gift fee.
Okay.
She plays for Linfield, played right up Northern Ireland under 19s and stuff like that there as a goalkeeper.
Okay, brilliant. So as well, you didn't bring him in here. I'll be sitting with mommy. Weighing them about.
She's a wee lad that I never had, if you know what I mean. So she's she's brilliant. But I remember we used to come home on a Saturday night, and I think we were winning quite a lot at that time, Johnny. And this is at Lockall, and used to come in through the door, and Julie would have been 3 glasses of white Sauvignon in, and say, great result today, baby. You'd walk through the door, great result, and the daughters were there. Who scored in that? And I went, Matty Burrows. And the girls just went, do, 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 do. Matty Burrows, do, 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 do. Matty Burrows. And that song always stuck in my head with all the girls in the kitchen. As every single time he scored regularly for me throughout that period. I'd come in through the door and I'd just went, do, 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 do. Matty Burrows. And the girls went, yeah, Matty scored again. They loved them. 2 children loved them, and Julie liked them as well, which was even more worrying. But no, it was great times, Johnny. As I say, I look back now and my memories are fantastic. I'm really, really proud of everything. I'm happy, but I still want to achieve more.
Yeah. Talk to me about Portadown now. The league now as well. There's probably a big overhaul in the league, as we've sort of touched on. The influx of money is a big problem for certain clubs. So obviously it's an incredible problem for other people to have.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? So when you look at it in two sides, but how do you feel like the league's going to go in the upcoming years? Do you think that the divide's going to get too big where it could be hard to come back from? Do you think that Portadown are going to get their facilities, go 3 nights a week? I know maybe some lads in there mightn't be happy with that. How do you balance all these potential problems?
I think Nif will have to be very careful. I really do. As I said earlier to you, Johnny, I don't think Nif will want a 4-team league every season. Nobody wants that. And I think you'll find that this season. I'll stand by this. I might be wrong. Every chance I'll be wrong. But I'll stand by this, that you'll see a gap this year between the top 4 and the rest.
Yeah.
What we seen from Coleraine yesterday, that's the team. I remember I was sitting in the game yesterday, and I think it was 2-0 at the time. And I'm sitting looking. We're really digging in. We're trying. We're giving it. We have to be at our optimum, Johnny, to compete.
Yes.
So we're digging in, and Rory shouting onto the pitch that we Lennon Kane, and he's sitting going, remember what we done yesterday on the pitch? And I'm sitting going, Friday?
Friday morning.
Friday morning? Really? Then you just twigs you. But you could see, I watched that Coleraine team yesterday, and you can see everything. You can see everything that's transferred from the training pitch being done.
Yeah.
And that takes time. You need to get on the training pitch to work on them things.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are working on Portadown Football Club all week.
You have one night. Yep. Because being part-time is a 2-night-a-week job, as we've pretty much mentioned. Your second night isn't the detail. Like, you can't get really much work done because you have an hour and a half. You need to get in, get a warm-up, get the boys moving, playing probably small-sided games. Yep. Do your set pieces, and then you're done. 100%. So
we try to find a good 15-20 minutes in a Thursday night technical session to prepare for the opposition. That's all we get. It's mental. So, Tuesday night you have to keep them fit, Johnny.
Oh, you got to
people. We only have them on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So Tuesday nights are hard, high intensity, bit of sharpness and running and stuff like that, and then get into small side games at a real high intensity. Thursday night we try and integrate at least 25 to half an hour of technical. and working on the opposition and what shape we want to be really without the ball. I think we're well drilled in regards to what we want with the ball. Obviously our style of play is we want to get it from midfield into the wide areas, get crosses into the box. We've signed 3 wingers. We've got 3 wingers. Fortunately, only one of them's fit at the minute. That's why we've ended up changing into the 3-5-2 and stuff like that there, because we're struggling for wingers. That's the bottom line. But yeah, I think it's difficult. It really is. 20-25 minutes. You're really working on how compact you want to be against the top boys. Ultimately, you have everything. You're sending videos to the players and all during the showing them analysis and showing them this here, keeping them up to date, doing your own wee odd analysis sessions, stuff like that, of how the opposition's playing and how they'll set up and where they do all their stuff. So it's difficult, John. There's no doubt about that. Technical session now is basically working without what shape we want to be in without the ball against the big boys. Now, whenever we go against these teams that we'll have coming up in a run of games now, we're pretty well versed on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that Coleraine team yesterday was different. It's different from what I've seen, John, in a long time in the game. They were just really, really, really. Yeah, their rotations, their movement, but not only that. What I seen yesterday, Johnny, I seen a hard-working team.
Yeah,
and it's okay. I seen Jimmy Glagan yesterday, tracking for 30 yards back, winning a tackle, and I got a goal from him.
Yeah,
winning a slide tackle. I never seen that from Jimmy Glagan before, so that's real credit to Rory Higgins.
Yeah,
to be fair to it. They have a hard-working team as well, and they're blessed with a lot of quality. They're big, they're strong, they've got pace. They've got technical quality. They've got a lot.
One of the things that I think I touched on last week when I was speaking to Andy was I feel like Coleraine have built themselves to be able to do both.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you talk about, sometimes you have to be able to play in the areas when it's ready to play. You get your rotations, you can get on the ball and you can move and pass it, but you have to be able to go direct.
Yeah.
And it seems like they've built themselves to do both.
Will they have that?
At the switch of 100%. Switch of wrestling.
Listen, they've got Shavlin, a player that I've tried to sign at least 5-6 times. Very close to signing him once.
The Scottish boy who sits in the bench, he's
smallest,
brilliant, great striker.
Can't get on. Brought a young lad on the right wing. We'll have McGregor for the first 60 minutes, and he's like a slam. He's an absolute rocket, like lightning. And then they brought a fellow on the right hand side. He was quicker,
right?
And you're just sitting going, Rory, give me a break.
Steve McCulloch sitting going, come on.
I'm Stevie, man. Absolutely. I'm sitting going, looking at Ryan. Give us a break, mate. Well, honest to goodness, you're 3-0 up. Give us a break. But they have everything. They've got a big squad. And they have a real chance.
They do. Do you think that they will win it this year, or do you think that other clubs will be in there?
I would have always, Johnny, I had always said if you finish above Linfield, you'll win the league.
Yeah.
And I would probably, the way I'm looking at it now, I still think David's that good of a manager that he always says to me, you got to find a way.
Yeah.
And I think Linfield do that.
Yeah.
I just think they'll always find a way. Now, if you're saying to me, having looked at Coleraine and looked at Linfield the week before, who do I fancy to win the league? Coleraine all day long.
Okay.
But I think that David is he finds a way.
Yeah.
And I think whenever his back's against the wall, he's at his best.
Okay.
And he's been a real good friend to me. We done our A license together many, many years ago. And he's been a real good friend to me for many years in regards to advice and stuff like that. And I'm the old one.
Yeah.
But, the pressures that he goes through at a huge club like Linfield, I think he suffers as well. It's just same, no different from any other manager. He's went through hard times there as well. And as I say, I just think he always finds a way. I think he's just top level manager.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll not be far away. I think it'll be Coleraine, between Coleraine and Linfield. And I think it'll be them too.
Couple more questions for you here, and I don't want it to get too out of the way, but when you look at you as a manager, you're talking about personal relationships between other people in the league, even when you're in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you just signed Recent, young lad at Linfield, scored a few goals, able to give people chances. Does that come with having those relationships with people, or do you feel like there's still wouldn't say skepticism around taking young lads off other Premiership teams? I know certain managers may not want that to happen because they don't want them to come back and bite them in a way.
Yeah.
But How does that work for you? How do you think that works going forward?
I think it's going to be vital for clubs like us. I think that we're in a situation where, obviously you have to have good relationship with all the managers. As I said, Rory Higgins to me yesterday was Jalma.
Yeah.
Very, very kind words. And, we are going to be reliant on getting the access of players from the quality of Coleraine, from the quality of Linfield, from the quality of Glentoran, was saying young Aaron Whiteman, from Daggy as well. Daggy's, so the relationship, I have good relationships with a lot of the managers. And, they understand that we can help their player develop as well, Jonah.
Yeah.
Part of the deal is that recent that comes to us, and Aaron Whiteman comes to us with 2 young men, and we send them back to their home clubs better players. And I have no doubt that I do that with players. And we'll give them young lads an environment, a mature environment that they need at such a young age, and let their ability. We know that I gave Reece his championship debut was 16 at Dundalk. So we knew Reece very, very well. We watched his involvement at Linfield for a couple of years now. David obviously feels it's time for him to go out and get good experience. He started the last couple of games for us.
Scored his debut, didn't he?
He did indeed. Fantastic finish. He's a great finisher.
Yeah.
Oh, real good finisher. And young Whiteman's coming back from an injury. We can get him up to speed. We're very, very reliant on Lee Chapman.
Okay.
Lee Chapman plays 38, 39 games a season. Choppers needs the odd break here or there as well. So we'll be able to keep things as fresh as we can. We'll have Aaron coming back and young Reece as well. But ultimately, it's relationships. Some managers, I can speak to you. I'll not name no names, but there's plenty of managers who never lifted a finger for me.
Yeah.
Over many, many years. And I keep that in the memory bank as well, Johnny.
Just hold that.
I just hold
every
that.
day comes.
Absolutely. I keep that in the memory bank because, I'm the type of manager I like helping. I give. We have 4 players of ours loaned out to different clubs around our area and stuff like that there. And I believe it's more important to get the player developed as quickly as you can.
Absolutely.
We're hunting 17-year-olds out and going getting them into the championship too and stuff like that there. So I think in the case of the likes of young Reece and the likes of young Whiteman and stuff like that there, I think it's very wise for managers like that and David to get them out, get them experienced, and then come bring them back in when they're ready.
Yeah.
And ready to play regularly in their teams, of which we can be a part of that, and I can help everybody. It helps everybody. They're giving me a good young player.
Yeah.
It's helping me with my squad, and it's helping them whenever they come back to the club again.
Do you think that going forward they'll actually benefit you as Portadown?
I think you know.
Or do you think that Portadown might be don't want to say this because obviously where Portadown are,
I know where you're going,
but a stepping stone. Obviously, people want to be full time. It's hard for kids now to not want to go to these top 4 to be this full time footballer. And it's exciting. Yeah. I don't know, and I have no remorse in saying I was a Ballman. I wanted to go full time.
Yeah,
I wanted to have that opportunity to do it. I just think that it's too shining. For people now, 100%. But at the same time, it's not financially stable. Like if you're the Joel Coopers of the world,
100%,
absolutely, go and take your money and do it. You deserve it. You've been the best player in the league for years. But for these young kids, I feel like you're trapped in a way because you go and take this step into this full time environment. You're more than likely going to struggle to get in,
100%.
and if you do get in, you need to hit the ground running, or you're coming back out. It's a difficult place to be.
We're sort of. This is why we were talking earlier, Johnny, about the necessity for our club to get into at least a hybrid.
Yeah.
I think with the status of our club and the size of our club and the fan base of our club, if we even got into that hybrid situation, we'd be able to attract very, very good players.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that we can attract still top names, but we have to get into that hybrid moment of making sure that we are competitive with the Coleraines and Linfields. We're not expected to beat them. We weren't expected to beat them yesterday. But for me, the first 45 minutes of that game made me proud.
Yeah.
Because we set up well. We looked like a well-organised team. They were frustrated. We'd done everything we had to frustrate them. We had everything. And the first half plan was fantastic. And as I say, but small things matter. Then we mistake here, we mistake there, and you get punished by these teams. I generally still feel that this is a huge club. And that... you have to have ambition and you have to have hopes. And my hope and my ambition is that whenever I leave Portadown Football Club, they're back where they once were and challenging at the top. But it has to be with circumstances as well, Johnny. You need the right environment. You need the right opportunities. Just say, and we need help.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line. Club needs help. You know, their decision there at the start of the week there was a perfect opportunity to help a town and help a big big sort of Irish League club. And we're hugely disappointed. I'll just say that we're hugely disappointed because, you know, with all that money it was laid out, John, we're sitting, as I've said to you at the start of the interview, about no facilities.
Yeah.
We're an Irish League club, and we're sitting training at the Annagh United on a Tuesday on a half a pitch on Thursday, and there's been money handed out. There's a lot of clubs that'll have the facilities, have their new 4G pitches for changing rooms and stuff like this here. When the necessity for our club to evolve and move forward was that 4G, at least the 4G pitch, to give us a chance, to give an attraction to players to come and be attracted by not just the stadium, but fantastic facilities, fantastic playing services. Hiring that pitch out 24/7, Monday to Sunday, revenue, to give us that opportunity to progress the club into hybrid mode. That was all our hopes.
Yeah.
So, listen, hopefully it can still happen, you know, but, you know, for me, that would be my dream. My dream is to get us into having that kind of facility for a start. And then getting us into that hybrid, we have to get into the hybrid. There's no doubt about that, at least 3 nights a week. Everybody else is doing it. I think Glenavon's doing it now, Dungannon doing it. I think ourselves and Bangor's the only 2 clubs doing Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
We have to, if we want to sustain ourselves,
don't you?
we have to move into that there kind of territory, John. And it's a real, as I said, yeah, it was a huge blow this week for the town. And it's sad, very, very sad for everybody. But listen, we have to go again. We'll have to pick ourselves up, and hopefully the powers to be will be able to rectify the situation down the line at some stage.
Last question here before I do the wee match day roundup that we've recently started. But I talked to you there about full-time footballers wanting to go full-time or part-time wanting to go full-time. Does Niall Currie have the ambition to potentially go full-time if a job came up and interested him? I know obviously this is outside of the scope. I know you're Portadown, you obviously enjoy it, you love it there, but it's attracting to everybody, and obviously you have ambition to maybe kick on. And
well, I'm doing my pro license at the minute.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm working with everything. I'm the oldest on it.
Okay.
It's hard to swallow, Johnny, but it's true.
Here, not the. You're one of the best looking. Not everybody manicures themselves the way you do on there.
All these youngsters, I'm looking at on our pro license. You know, the average age is 26, 27, 30 year old.
Yeah.
We have a guy actually is Anne's Pasta Coglu's assistant at now Nottingham Forest. So in regards to what's ahead, listen, I would become Portadown's full-time manager tomorrow if the opportunity arose. But as it is, you know, my own business is just, you know, I'm 53 now. I've got to be realistic about things too, John. You know, I probably missed the boat in regards to my full-time career and stuff like that there. But yes, at 53, you know, it gets harder when you're doing a full-time job, John. There's no doubt about it. When you're getting up at 6 in the morning, you're finishing at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then then you're starting your football, and you've got people in the corner looking at you watching Coronation Street, asking, are you going to speak to me at any stage?
Yeah,
you know,
but kids in the house,
it's really difficult. It really is really hard to balance it. No doubt about it. It's got harder. And it gets harder with age. I'm being absolutely honest. The energy that I have to feel, I have to go into the training ground, you know, bouncing.
Yeah.
I have to show my players that, right, let's go. You know, we're all up for it. Bang, bang, bang. And sometimes you're tired. You get tired at 53, unfortunately. And but absolutely, I want to be. I still think I've still a hell of a lot to offer. I still think I've got, you know, good years ahead of me. I think my experience now and my decision making, you know, I'm very, very confident managing against any manager in the Irish League. I don't doubt myself against any of them. I'd love to have the same resources, the same opportunities that they have. No doubt about that. I would thrive in that, Johnny. And I think
put it on a level playing field. Has someone?
That's probably the right words, Johnny. I'd love to be on a level playing field with him because I have no doubts in my mind. I could back myself against any. I think I've learned a lot over the years, and I think even technically now, and set up with teams and stuff like that, and I think I'm pretty well. I think I showed yesterday again in that Coleraine game that given the right amount of time, the right period on a football pitch, and the right preparation on a football pitch, I'm certainly quite sure that I could do the same job as anybody else is doing on a full-time role.
I agree.
Given the time.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that's just lacking. It's put everybody on a level playing field.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, do it. Get the money from somewhere and see how it pans out.
I think that's probably this is why we've got to be careful with our league, because it's never going to be a level playing field, Johnny, with the big boys. We understand that concept, but for teams to have a future and sustain themselves and be challenging and make the league competitive consistently over the years, we're going to have to help the other clubs.
Yeah,
the other clubs need a help. You don't want that gap coming. And from speaking to Daggy Goodell there last week after Coleraine was at the cruise, Daggy was in the same. Daggy told me, like, he pre-warned me in regards to this. He said and Daggy's won everything in the game and been at the highest level. He says they're as good as he's seen.
Yeah.
And
I was there, and I was at Crusaders. I done a wee Q&A last Saturday before the game with Daggy, and this was talking about getting the players to go out and good account themselves.
Yeah.
But
that's where we're at.
Coleraine hit them 15 minutes in, they were 2 down. You're just going, oh, that's a sucker punch there.
But it's not a sad way. It's a sad place to be at. Whenever you're saying to your players, give it everything you have.
We understand here that
we get it. Go on and give a good account of yourselves being the perfect words. They're not words that I like to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's ultimate reality.
That is.
It is the reality. Go on, boys, make us proud.
Yeah.
Go and make us proud. Give us everything you got and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the way.
Shouldn't.
But that's the way it's going to be. They have to be very, very careful. The league have to be very, very careful that, it's okay turning around and telling clubs to get their act together and stuff like that there. I think Portadown is one of, one or two clubs that finished last season without losses.
Yeah.
And so our club should be absolutely patted on the back for that. You see the losses that went on with a hell of a lot of all clubs last year. So we ran our club right last year, and we've done things properly last year, while other clubs took substantial losses and stuff like that. But yet we're turning around the situation where we can't even get a hold.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but in the yesterday's match day roundup, we've started doing this in the last couple of weeks. Glenavon at home to Ballymena, 3-2. What's your take?
I think that Ballymena is a very good side now.
Yep.
I think they have invested heavily on fair play for that. I love ambition. I've said that before. So they've got great ambition. I think Jim's sorted a really, really good side there now. I think he's signed very well in the window. The players that he's brought in are really, really good players. 2 or 3 of them he wiped me out with whenever we were trying to sign them. So he knows what I'm talking about. He's in the pro license for me too, so we get there. So he signed really, really well. They're a good side. Ballymena's a real good side. I think probably on a par with the likes of Glenavon. I think by all accounts it's a very, very 50. I look at them games, 50-50 games now. Ballymena's come up. There's no doubt about it with the investment that they've made, the players that they've signed. They're a good side now.
Yeah.
So they'll fancy themselves to maybe get into that top 6 this season. And I think Glenavon will always fancy themselves to get into the top 6 just through what they do.
Yeah.
They seem to just be a conveyor belt of young players. And whenever you think they're losing players here, there, and the squads, Jim's just comes through on all diamond or something, So, yeah, that was a tight game. I think it was Touré's reaction to the winner.
That's all I thought. Oh my God. I sent it all to a few people. I seen it as soon as so I was obviously in the house, and I was the BBC and I'm sitting thinking, I seen the goal goes in, and I was like 3-2 last minute.
Yeah.
Next minute I seen the kid have this it just flipped out. I don't know what happened.
He did indeed.
He was possessed or something. I don't know what was wild.
See, to be fair, as a manager, I would look at him and say, fair play, at least you care.
I was the opposite. I was like, no, don't do that.
He definitely cured. To give credit to his mind.
You know what? When the dust settles here and you see Tuesday night, he's getting absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Smashed.
Absolutely. I think Jim will probably look at him and go, fair play. I said Jim was on the sidelines doing the same thing, but 2 evenly matched teams. And that, as I looked from, by all accounts, I'll get watching all the games later, Johnny. obviously, coming here today at this early time, I forgot whenever we wanted to come earlier. It was my fault,
it was.
right? So I also forgot whenever I waking up in the morning now, I watched Canelo and Canelo last night against...
I forget.
Who? Bud Crawford, correct. So I ended up watching it. Big mistake. So I got up this morning at about 9:30, and I have to also realise that whenever you get up in the morning now, at my stage, is that it takes your face about an hour to catch up, right? So you're slacking in the morning,
like a mini,
and everything's here. So I said to myself, I wonder will my face be right by the time I get up to
get
see
the
it.
cream and all.
I had the moisturiser on, the old hardened eyes.
Yeah, you were watching that box now. You then we metal shears, the scrape out. Trying to push.
I woke up this morning, looked at myself, and I went, "Oh no, right?
Yeah.
What have I got? An hour and 15 minutes should be okay, maybe. Hopefully, it'll be okay. But
it look fantastic.
I shouldn't have done it, but I watched the fight and was, exactly how I expected it to go.
Lauren 1-0. Glenavon. Glenavon had a bit of a tough start.
Well, they have. There's no doubt about it. But a lot of changes, Johnny.
Yeah.
A lot of changes, and sometimes that takes time. So I don't think I'll get any Portadown supporters having any sympathy towards any situation at Glenavon. But
I get it.
Listen, I think that he's signed well.
Yeah,
I think he's signed well. I am surprised where this, but again, for me, there's no panic stations. There shouldn't be any panic stations.
Too early, isn't it?
It's far too early. Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of changes there. There's a lot of new players and stuff like that there. Lauren's a difficult place to go, and but I know from every manager's point of view, you feel it anyway. Generally, the bottom line is it's a results-based business, and that's football. And whenever you're on a bad run like that you're always under pressure, and that's. But Paddy's well old in the tooth now, and he knows exactly what that one game changes everything. And that's why I say whenever I get brought in front of the board or any board that I've been at and say, there's 3 or 4 defeats in a row. What's going on or what's happening? How can I help or how can we change things? You just want a game of football.
Yeah.
One win changes everything, John.
Confidence,
changes the persona in the changing room, changes body language, changes everything. And that's why I always say whenever I'm on a bad run, one win, you get next win.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and see after that win, it's like it's like walking into a completely new environment.
It is.
The Tuesday night, you win on a Saturday after a bad run, win on a Saturday, suddenly you're coming into smiling faces, you're coming into good banter, you're coming into spirits being lifted, and so that's the way I view things. One win, Paddy just needs to get one over the line, and then I'm quite sure you kick on again.
As you've just touched on there, that win's vital, especially after last week. So Crusaders, quite like yourselves, played Coleraine last week, get a serious result yesterday against Dungannon.
Unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable.
Decky going in there, as you say, fresh face, pleasure, confidence, back to the roof, a couple of goals scored, a couple of different people.
That's him lifted again.
That's the way it works.
So he'll have huge disappointments about getting beat by us and getting beat by Coleraine. He'll be probably more huge disappointment getting beat by us.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's one of them 50-50 games that I talk about all the time, and he would have looked at it the same way. But Coleraine game he can get over.
Yeah.
I can get over Coleraine yesterday, no problem. Never like losing a game of football, but you can get over it.
Yeah.
Because you understand what the situation is. But that result for Crusaders yesterday, I was well. Dungan's are really difficult. We beat them earlier in the season, and but I would be telling a lie if I thought we would get the way. I would have been happy going to Dungan to start of the season and getting something out of a game. But beating them at the start of the season. But listen, it's like everything else. Rodney's manager of the year last year, and his plaudits are through the skies. Doesn't make him a bad manager because he's going through a bad run. No, that's the key. Every way, so many people have to stay cool.
Your highest highs to your lowest lows, isn't it?
100%. You've got to have, see for me, somebody always said to me, the highs are so high, Johnny.
Yeah.
But they never last too long.
No.
That's the problem. My high winning a game of football on a Saturday afternoon is the highs of Saturday night. Waking up in the morning again, the highs isn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I try to balance, and I try and have a life balance about that. I used to take football home with me. I used to come home through the door like a bird, and yeah, I wasn't a nice person whenever you lost a football game.
Yeah.
And I've changed all that now. I come home, all the girls were in the house last night. I don't come home happy. What it says, I'm just a great believer. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the one thing that anybody'd say about me is I'm a realist.
You can't change it after the result anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a realist and I understand situations. As long as I've got reasons and I've got situations and reasons of why things happen, then I'm okay with things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. The biggest disappointment that I have is when we underperform, and I think we should have done a lot better.
Yeah.
That's when I get far more upset. But I always say to the players, I'm not interested about the opposition. We'll give you all the information you need about the opposition. All I'm interested in now is getting the very, very best out of you guys today.
Yeah.
And making sure we're at our very best. We want to be at our very, very best every game. And if it's not good enough to win a game of football on that given day, so be it.
Yeah.
But as long as we're at our levels, Johnny, if that makes sense, then I'm happy.
Very last game to touch on is probably not one that we probably want to speak about too much, obviously with the injury that was caused, but Bangor went to Carrick yesterday, saw Paul Heatley taken away in an ambulance, which is obviously hugely upsetting for most people, but not nice to see at all.
I remember Scotty Irvine's one from many, many years ago, Johnny.
Yeah. First thing that came back to my head whenever I was talking to BJ was...
Me too. Exact same. Remember, Davey was talking about that there, Big Mac. But listen, this is where, you put life into perspective.
Yeah.
See people. See, this is where, to me, sounds like, life's more important, or football's more important than life and all that. No, it's not. No, it's not. The bottom line is that football becomes secondary to situations like what happened to Paul yesterday. And we're all praying for him. We're all going, absolute, it's awful. And it's awful for the family. Football, forget about football in them situations, Johnny. I don't care. Nobody cares about the result yesterday in that game. All we care about is Paul making a full recovery and coming back and being okay.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I'm not interested in what the result was or how the game was going or anything like that there. Football comes to the side for them situations there. This is about human life. This is about life in general. And I'm old enough now. I've seen plenty of tragedy in my life as well. And as I say, I've had plenty of moments and sadness in my life as well through different things, Johnny. But he's a young man, a young family. And as I say, the main thing is that he's okay.
Yeah.
We all want him. We all want to pray for him. We all want to make sure that he's okay. I'm not interested in how the game was going. Nobody's interested in how the game was going. I think football comes down here, way down the pecking order when you see an incident like that happening. And as I say, all we can do is just pray that he's okay, and fingers crossed, and that he's good and he's in with his children and the wife very, very soon.
Well, listen, probably no better way to end than to finish on that, you know what I mean? But yes, as I say, everybody in the studio is thinking of Paul Hitman.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I was so interested to get you in. It didn't disappoint at all. So much conversation, so much story, so much happy times, so much sad times.
Yep.
But one thing that I can say is you are an absolute legend, sir. I love you. I've had so much good times. We had that numerous times throughout the year.
Don't forget, and I'll remember the rest of my life
What's this?
meeting you, and you go to Warren Point.
I know. Well, I was talking to guys about that.
Graceful decision.
I know.
I still can't believe it.
You knew why I done it.
You did give me the old Dear John. Give me the Dear John.
I've done it for
the old my relationship.
I don't want to tell people, but you did read the message wrong.
Wouldn't be a first.
You did.
I did.
You did read the message.
Right. I thought. That's right. I thought you'd agreed to come.
Just to let everybody know now.
Right.
Now it left me a message, and that obviously didn't get through on the phone, so I left him a voicemail or a voice message, and pretty much just said, like, listen, I'm sorry, but Barry Gray is a friend of mine, and going to go help him out. He's in the championship. He's looking to get up. Next minute, I get a message. I can't wait to have you in. This is brilliant. Can't wait to see you. This is going to be amazing. You're going to be in next week and all. Blah, blah, blah. Now, right? Hardest conversation I ever had to do was to go back and tell you, mate, you read that wrong.
I forgot about that. I did it. I was sitting buzzing in my car. I was in my car, and I just definitely didn't get it right.
No, we didn't speak for a while. But listen,
listen, as I say, life's life.
It is. But here's still
opportunity. More regrets tonight.
Still opportunities. Do you know what I mean?
Why not?
Never.
Listen, absolutely. As I say, I'm always in the sign of the handsome man.
That's it. Even if it's just to stand at the side of the bench, I don't mind it. It's less
As long as you're not standing beside me, that's
less stressing than these, you know.
but yes, isn't he?
It's good.
Good.
Good. Back in the gym, back training. The brace is off, so I can now wear something other than flares.
Good.
Which is positive. And I love my flares, but I'm able to fit in
And the skinnies again.
skinny treasure, fit in the show off.
That's what honest about you can pretty much get away with everything.
Get away with it. I'm alright. But listen, again, it's a pleasure. We finish on hugs.
Absolutely. Not a better man. Come here, you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for no, you too.
Thank you so much for coming in. No problem. Join us next week on the On the Spot Football podcast for yet another fantastic guest. This man was an absolute beast. A centre forward who could have played Gaelic, probably at the highest level he could. He also did have a wee bit of a spat on Windsor Park in extra time in the Irish Cup final. Do you know what happened? See you soon.